and welcome to another episode of the Practical Permaculture Podcast. I'm your host, Elise Gallagher. Today, I have the kids with me, so you may hear them in the background. It is school holidays, and I'm trying to get these out on time for everybody still. This week, we have Tianda from uForage joining me on the podcast. She chats about her app. It's an app where you can jump on, it's free, and you can see local roadside stalls or people growing food and wanting to sell their excess or eggs, things like that. And yeah, it's pretty much user based. So you can jump on, register yourself, or if you find stalls, you can put them on. And their aim is to make food more accessible. So I really enjoyed my chat with her. It's a beautiful day here in the Northern Rivers. The kids are outside foraging mushrooms, which they will not eat. They just destroy and play with. And yeah, we're just gearing up for 2 weeks of school holidays. My son's birthday is coming up, so it's always a very busy time of the year, seeing family and baking cakes and doing all the things. Sorry if you can hear the kids in the background. They're outside screaming to each other, saying that the strawberries are growing. So that's good news. The garden is slowly coming to life again after all this rain, which is lovely to see. As I just said, the strawberries are all flowering, which is really beautiful. We've got some oranges coming on, even though the oranges are in their pots still. We've got lots of rocket and spinach and greens. Our cabbages are all coming along, lots of leeks. The snow peas are abundant. I've just harvested my first lot of onions that were ready, so that was cool. That's my first batch of onions that I've actually been able to grow and harvest on this property. The garlic's growing well. I'm trying to feed it regularly so it keeps growing. Yeah, everything's just plodding along. The house build will be continuing after school holidays when our builder gets back. So life is just happening here at Practical Permaculture headquarters. A quick word from our sponsor, and then we'll get straight into this week's episode. Our gardens and bodies are made up of water, but did you know what is in yours? If you're like me, you're probably thinking that it's time to check the tank. And on top of that, there's modern contamination of PFAS, chlorine, and other chemicals that are linked to real health impacts. Aussie-based mywaterscore.com.au has made it possible to get real lab results from NATA certified labs straight from your mailbox. Whether you're on tank, bore, or mains, it's a simple mail-to-lab kit that gives you clear results for bacteria, PFAS, heavy metals, and more. It's all explained in plain English. Use the code PRACTICAL to get a discount off your first test at mywaterscore.com.au. Welcome to the Practical Permaculture Podcast, your weekly dose of gardening, intentional living, and all things permaculture, served with a side of fun and plenty of great conversations. I'm your host, Elise, and together we'll dig into practical tips, chat with experts, and explore ways to cultivate a more abundant, sustainable life. Let's get growing. So, hello and welcome, Tianda, to the podcast. How are you?
I'm great, thank you, Elise. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be joining you today.
So, for anybody who doesn't know about you and your business, can you just tell us a little bit about it so we can kind of get a feel for who you are?
Sure. I like to keep things really honest and real. I'm just a regular mum. We're a family of 6. I have 4 children, ages 4 to 14. So very busy household. We grow a lot of our own food, and that's something that never really came naturally for me. That it was a learned thing for me. I was this only child, and my parents owned a business growing up, so many of our meals were takeaway when, they were sort of there until 5 o'clock at night or later sometimes. So those skills, all of that sort of stuff, cooking for myself, learning how to do all those things, learning how to grow my own food has come later on. And the latter I'm still not very good at. My partner Valentino is the one who's the grower. I'm a bit of a plant killer, so I'm still learning, and I try not to touch too much because I don't want to muck it up. But I love it. I love going down to the garden and picking, things and using that
Yeah.
in my cooking. That's the greatest thing. But I do feel guilty that I'm not contributing to that on the same level. But I think he's fine with it. So our business is called uForage. We created an app for finding and sharing food. And I get asked a lot, like, what sort of was the motivation or what was the initial thing. It
Mm.
feels like a combination of things. I can't pinpoint the exact thing that was just like, right, this is what we're going to do. But it was from Valentino's heritage is Italian, so his family
Yeah.
make all their own passata and salami and all that sort of wonderful stuff. And I saw them sharing it among each other. And I, as an Aussie coming into that sort of thing, never having seen anything or done anything quite like that, I
Yeah.
have this distinct memory of, I think it was a Dolmio ad as a kid, and it was the Italian nonna passing food over the fence to the Aussie family. And I just
Yeah.
had that in my mind, like, oh man, so many like people would just be like, just dying to get their hands on that sort of stuff. And then
Yeah.
sort of COVID came, there were shortages. I remember walking to the shop to get a lettuce. I needed a lettuce, and at that stage, we didn't have our garden um, going very well. And I went to get a lettuce from the shop, and it was $12 for a head of lettuce. And I walked out without a lettuce.
Mm.
I just could not bring myself to spend $12 on a head of lettuce. And I was driving back home, and I just randomly ran into my neighbor and started having a conversation. I was like, "Can you believe they're charging $12 for a head of lettuce?" And she's like, "Oh, would you like one from my garden?" And it was just those sorts of interactions that started making me realize just how much abundance is around us and how many
Yeah.
people don't have the skills, the time, the knowledge, such as me. Like, I don't know how, or didn't know how to do a lot of that stuff, still don't know how to do a lot of that stuff. How
Mm-mm.
amazing it would be if we could create this kind of culture of sharing and, you know, just access. Because I know just from our neighbors how much of their gardens go to waste. We've got elderly neighbors with 300 mango trees, and those mangoes fall every year. And it's just like, what? I'm paying $30
Yeah.
for a tray of mangoes and you have them all over the ground and there's people
Yeah.
hungry. So, I mean, it was those kinds of experiences and things that just kept sort of building this, like, oh, wouldn't it be awesome if we knew where to find fresh local produce? Organic
Yeah.
stuff was, and it still is, out of reach for our family, and hence why we grow a lot of our own, and hence why I've built those relationships with our neighbors where I can
Mm.
go and get a head of lettuce if I need one, or organic lamb. Our neighbor has lambs, and every now and again we'll do a process and give us lamb. Like, it's just when you start to connect and build those networks in your own sort
Mm.
of neighborhood, I think it's really mind blowing what's out there. And just knowing from my partner's family, they're all in city, suburban kind of areas. They all have gardens because that's what they do. And I know there's a
Yeah.
lot of other people that are doing the same thing, and they're all just hidden away in their own little things, and no one's talking to each other and realizes what's
Mm.
there and how we could live life so differently if we just connected and started sharing and talking and sharing knowledge as well. It's just, for me,
Yeah.
a no-brainer. So that's
Yeah.
essentially that's what our app does. It's a food map and bringing people together, connecting people, trying to help build those connections for people, because I just don't
Yeah.
think we talk to our neighbors the way we used
No.
to. So,
No. I think
yeah.
COVID definitely highlighted that for a lot of people, and not just COVID, but weather events, whether it's the floods or fires, whatever's kind of happening. Food security, I think people are realizing, is a really big issue. Like,
Yeah.
the supply chain is only, what, 3 days between stuff on the shelves and nothing on the shelves.
Yeah. And just that how long you've got. And we experienced that firsthand with the floods. We were cut off for 14 days, which,
Yeah.
with young kids, I mean, we were lucky. We had our food network already here and we were okay. But there were
Yeah.
other people that were stuck for even longer. And that's just
Mm-mm.
crazy, to think in 2025 that you can get cut off in Australia for that length of time or
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to know. You need to have the skills. You need
Yeah.
to know what your food network is. Sometimes it's not feasible, and for sure, like, technology when we had the floods went down, but I think
Yeah.
the idea of what we're trying to do is just to build those connections and then take it offline. You don't need to keep
Yeah.
staying on
True.
the app. Come back and look when you've run out of something and you need honey or eggs, or your chickens
Yeah.
are off the lay or something like that. We're just
Mm.
trying to create those connections and then get people offline and get them into the garden, get them talking, get them exchanging, sharing knowledge, all of that sort of stuff. I think I think it has to be the way of the future if we're going to survive really as a civilization.
And I think especially people in cities, it can be, or even just large towns, it can be
Mm,
intimidating to go and knock on someone's door or build those relationships
yeah.
unless you're already in a community garden or something like that. I feel like in more rural areas, there is that coming together, whether
Mm,
it's in schools or in whatever community that you have around. Whereas in a city or an urban space, you're dropping the kids off in a drop off pickup line, you're not actually going in and engaging. And so it can be hard to make those connections. And I think people get funny about the ethics, like whether there's a mulberry bush overhanging or a lemon tree, with all these keyboard warriors and people getting all high and mighty about, oh, you can't do this and you can do that. And
yeah.
the laws don't support it in Australia to just go foraging. So there's lots of logistics.
I've been there too. Like I've been foraging, off an overhanging tree and just been like, is anyone watching me? Like, am I going to is someone going to come and attack me for I
Yeah.
know it's like fine and legal and everything. Like, yeah, it's such a weird thing. And that is part of our app as well, wild food foraging. And it's
Yeah.
a fine line, I know that if it's overhanging the fence, it's fair game. That's the rules.
Mm.
That's the council, the way our council goes. And
Yeah.
I've actually been and knocked on the door and done the right thing and been like, hey, would you mind if I pick what's overhanging? And the lady was really abrupt and rude and be like, no, I sell that at the market. And I was like, okay. It's like,
Yeah.
no problem. But yeah, I mean, for sure, it can be intimidating. And then a lot of people don't want to have those interactions. And I think what we're trying to do with uForage too is take away that mystery.
Mm.
It's a peer review thing as well. So if someone says on
Okay.
there, I've been there and this wasn't good, or the person wasn't, we've got things on there to take, like for the person to say, this is on my property and I don't want it on here. We've
Yeah.
got things on there for people to comment and say, actually, this was really challenging to get to. You need to bring XYZ with you if you want to reach that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're trying to remove some of that mystery and
Mm.
take away, I guess, the nervousness and the
Yeah.
uncertainty,
Yeah.
anxiety of going and foraging for food.
And I downloaded the app. So it's not just foraging. There's stands, there's people
Yeah.
selling eggs, there's all kinds of things. So what are
Yeah.
kind of the categories? Because you have little symbols to make it
We
easy and break
do,
it
we do.
down.
So I guess if you're adding something to the app, the categories are wild growing from the grower, and you can do that as a visitor or as the farmer or the grower or the maker yourself. And then there's free or leftovers. So free or leftovers
Okay.
would be like if you had a tree on your
Yes.
property that was in your property that you were happy for people to come pick from, but you probably don't just want to pin it as a wild growing thing that everyone's just going to rock up and pick from it. You can
Mm-hmm.
sort of do that and hide your address and have people contact you. Think of like
Ah.
Facebook Marketplace. It's like you're still having those interactions and you can choose whether your address is visible or not. Same if
Yeah.
you've got a roadside stall. I mean, obviously a roadside stall is probably better to have your address visible, but if you've
Yeah.
just got stuff in your back garden and you kind of want to connect with someone that is interested in swapping, or maybe you just want to sell, to people, you can put it on there and then hide your address and have people contact you first and arrange, a pickup if you're not comfortable with people coming to your home or yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've
Cool.
tried to make it really user friendly and not scary.
And it's just for food at the moment.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, look,
Yeah.
there's people that have roadside stands that have like tallow, for example, like tallow balm,
Yeah.
soaps and things like that. So we do get, and that's fine. I actually think that's great. But our focus is definitely for now
Food.
food. Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you reckon percentage wise have you got on there as like stalls and paid food versus free food? Because we
Oh,
know that cost of living right now is massive. I know
yeah.
I saw your recent reel about people eating dog food and the articles that are coming out about, people just can't afford to
No,
eat well,
no. And I just
let
want to
alone,
say, I'm so disappointed more people aren't outraged by that. Like I read that and I was like, what? Like
mm,
how can we be having this situation? I mean, I get it. I get we've got a lot going on and we're busy. But I
mm-hmm.
mean, it's not that hard. Like I just went and picked a heap of baby spinach. We've got so much baby spinach at the moment. And I went and put 2 big bags down into like a food cupboard. I think it was in that same video actually that I put
Yeah.
those bags of spinach in that food cupboard. And it's on my way, into town. And I get that not everybody has that accessibility. That's why we've created the app, just to try and make it that little bit easier.
Yeah.
Um, I just think it's nuts. I think it's crazy. There's so much food around, and
Yeah.
it's knowledge, it's knowing where it is, how to find it, what to do with it. And
Mm-hmm.
we're not perfect. We haven't got all that incorporated yet. I mean, that's something that I'd love to do down the track. back to your question about percentages, I think at this stage it's probably like 20% wild growing, and then the
Okay.
rest would be, food that's on there for sale or for
Yeah.
swaps or something like that.
Yeah.
However, we have just struck an agreement with an organisation called Falling Fruit. Have you heard of Falling Fruit overseas?
No. No.
They're a not-for-profit, been going for about 10 years, and they
Mhm.
have a wild foraging map. I think it includes dumpster, like occasional dumpsters and stuff people have put on there
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
which we're sort of not sure yet whether we're going to keep on there or not.
Hmm.
But we've made an agreement to share that database. So once that comes
Oh,
across in the
cool.
next few months,
Yeah.
it'll be 1.6 million listings across the world. And we'll be
Wow.
the biggest open source community food map in the world.
Congratulations. How
Yeah,
amazing.
we're very, very, very excited. And what
That
that will
is
mean,
super
logging
cool.
on, I think like our region's pretty good. It's pretty full on because that's
Yeah.
where we are. Obviously, we've been pumping it. I'm in community groups here and I'm talking to people all the time.
Yeah.
But outside of that, we're just relying on word of mouth. And so I
Yeah.
think it's going to be amazing for people in different regions in Australia logging on and actually seeing more stuff around them and think, oh,
Mm.
right, cool, I get this, and
Yeah.
taking it and running with it, hopefully.
Yeah, well, we caravanned around Australia for 2 years, and I was so excited to just like do a Australia tour of the farmers markets and roadside stalls, and but I found that we didn't actually do it. It just was really hard because the days that we were in town, that's not when the markets were on, and because we had a big caravan attached, stopping at a roadside stall was a bit problematic because of how
Tricky.
long we were
Yeah,
and how much space we needed to pull up, and so I actually was really surprised that we didn't access that as much as I thought that we would when we were traveling Australia. But I think it's
yeah,
something that when you are on holidays or if you are traveling, because the traveling community is huge and it is full of a lot of people like women who are displaced who are not doing it because it's by choice, but because
yeah,
they have to, or
yeah.
people who are like my husband's grandparents, it's cheaper for them to go and live in a caravan than it is to,
Mm,
live another way. So they're the people that need it the most too. So I
yeah.
think it's an amazing resource for people to be able to just jump on there. And I think it's only going to grow and grow and grow.
Yeah, we hope so. We really hope to see it take off. Like our ethos behind it is to connect communities, reduce waste and hunger. Like they're really like prominent problems, and I just don't understand how in 2025 we still have people that are going hungry. There's so much abundance out there. If we
Mm,
know where to find it, I believe there's enough food in the world to feed everybody. We're just not. It's not somehow not getting to where it needs to go, and I guess that's part of what we're trying to do is just
yeah.
make sure that food has the opportunity to get into the hands of people that need it. It's not perfect, and I think it will probably evolve and change a lot as we go and learn.
Mm.
But for now, as a non-technical person that's built an app, I think we've done all right.
Yeah. Well, there's a quote, I can't remember where I saw it, but there's enough food in the whole world to feed everybody. It's just
Yes.
a distribution problem. It's not a
Yes.
food shortage problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it?
It is, and I think we're just one arm of that solution. It's a very multifaceted thing.
So true. Yeah, yeah. And so you did mention you guys have no IT background. You haven't, so how did the app come to be? Like, how did it get funded and how did you do this? And how are you sustaining it without
Oh,
really an income at the moment
we
as well?
we're on a single income, so we just had a meeting with our developer last night, and to implement all of this stuff for Falling Through, like to get that map integrated, we're looking at about another $6,500
Hmm.
Australian. So it's huge. It's been huge. I drew initially the picture on the paper of what I thought the app would look like, and you click that button, that's going to take you there, and then to have it in your hands after that is just like, wow, like just drawing the piece of paper and thinking, how is that going to turn into an
Yeah.
app? I know nothing about this. And it was really just literally Googling, like, okay, how do I build an app? And then it starts telling you information, and you're okay, well, what you need a wireframe. What is a wireframe? And I go off and look at that. And we just started listening to podcasts and listening to
Yeah.
like the kind of developers that were being interviewed. And this one name just kept kind of coming up. So we reached out to them. They're in Argentina,
Hmm.
which I mean, obviously we would have preferred to do it in Australia, but cost wise, we would have been
Hmm.
talking probably triple what we've paid so far, and
Yeah.
we've paid a lot so far. So yeah, we made that connection. We had those interviews. We gave them the money, about $3,000, I think it was, to do the wireframes for the app,
Hmm.
and literally like 3 weeks later, we got smashed in the 22 floods, lost
Oh.
everything, had like no accommodation. We had to go, and I moved the kids down to Coffs Harbour, and I stayed there with them for a few months while we fixed up here and fitted out the shed. And they came back to us like after they were sort of like, "Where, what's going on?" Because they were asking us questions, we weren't responding. We had no internet. They're like, "Are you guys like just bailing? What's happening?" And we're like, "No, no, no. Like this is what's happened." And they actually offered us all the money back, even though they've been working on it for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so that was lovely, and we did decline that offer and thank them very much. But it was that integrity
Mm-hmm.
that made us decide to go with them when we
Yeah.
went ahead with the build. So
Yeah.
yeah, look, we were lucky, I think, with developers. They've been really nice holding our hands and explaining to us what everything means. Like they'll say something, and I'm
Mm.
like, can you just like dumb that right down to my
That's
level,
amazing.
please?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they've been really great. And without that, I don't know how. I don't know how we would have done it. And still, even now, like there's still conversations that I don't understand, and I
Mm-hmm.
have to ask them to explain it to me in terms I can
Yeah,
understand.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, we've
That's
self-funded
amazing.
it. We've
Yeah.
spent. I always get nervous about saying this. I reckon it's probably close to 200,000 now in the app, and I don't know how. Like not like we had 200,000 just laying around. It was just this thing. We just like we really want to do this. We really believe in it, and let's just go for it. And we just, it was like having a second mortgage for a few years, and we
Yeah.
just kept,
Yeah.
that monthly or weekly, fortnightly payment, whatever it was. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't handle the financing side of it. My partner handled. Like I can't think about it too much. But yeah, I mean, it's getting to the point now where we are really struggling. Like it's really hard, and looking at that bill, knowing that we need to get that agreement done and those numbers on, and it's like another $6,000. Scary. We just have to believe that we're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Because it's a
Yeah.
free app, like nobody
Yeah.
pays for it. But
No.
if people do have the ability to support you guys, how can they do that?
So we have just invested in monetizing the app. It is going to remain free. And what
Yep.
we've decided to do is do a pay what you can subscription model.
Mm-hmm.
So if people can't afford it, they can keep using the app just as they were before. And if they can
Yep.
afford it, they've got like increments they can choose to support us on a monthly basis that they can cancel at any time.
Yeah.
That for me felt like the right thing to do. I
Mm-hmm.
really, really wanted to keep the app free because the whole point of it is helping people. And if I've been in that situation, I've been through domestic violence, I've been a single mum with the kids, with struggling, to get the food.
Mm.
I've sat in front of the charity board explaining why I can't afford it and why I need to get relief for this and that. It's what's the word? It's humiliating.
It's testing,
Dignity
you
is
know.
the word I was looking for. There's no
Yeah.
dignity in that.
Yeah.
It's really hard, and not everyone. I mean, I'm quite a bubbly, outgoing person. Not everyone has that
Mm.
personality that feels that they can do that. Like for me, it was hard,
Totally.
and
Yeah.
I'm an outgoing kind of a person. So
Yeah.
yeah, I hate to think what people that aren't like that must go through. So I don't want to put anyone in that situation where it's like, oh, I can't afford it. It's just another thing I can't afford. So
Mm.
that's what we're doing right now. Down the track, I really want to be able to offer something to the people that are supporting us and subscribing on top of what
Yeah.
on what they're getting with the app. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to sort of talk to people and make connections in terms of education. I'd love to put some stuff up, on foraging, on
Mm.
preserving, on baking bread, on so anything you can find on the app, you can learn how to do on the app as well. I mean, that's big picture
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
many thousands of dollars of development away, but at least if we get this, offering out and people can support us, then we can continue to
Yeah.
build it out and do what we want to do with it and make it like an amazing tool.
Yeah. Is there any like one-off payment people can just kind of, if they've got some money,
I
donate
mean,
to
they
the
can
cause?
set up for the monthly and then just literally cancel it straight away.
Yeah.
I guess that's my
Yeah.
thinking. I've thought about maybe building that into the website. Again, I'm not technical. So if I have these
Yeah.
ideas, it's like, okay, that's a good idea. I just don't know how I'm going to implement that. And
Yeah.
it's just the two of us. So like when I have these kind of things, the list just keeps growing. There's so much I have to do. Like I have to get on today and try and figure out how we're going to raise some money to get that $6,000 over the line. So that's my mission today is just have a look for some grants and see what's out there. It's very challenging
Yeah.
just being the two of us, and realistically my partner is working full time, so
Yeah.
it's just me.
Yeah. That's such an amazing resource. Is there anything else you want to share about the app in particular?
Um, I just really want people to give it a go. It's a
Mm.
new habit. It's a new thing. I know that. I understand that. But if you're growing produce and you're interested in maybe just selling a bit of your excess or giving a bit of your excess, just jump on and see how it goes. It's going to
Yeah.
take time. You know, some people in some areas are going to jump on and there's going to be no one. I've had people reach out to me and be like, am I the only person in this area? And I'm like, yeah, I think you
Maybe.
might be.
Yeah.
And then I go and try and get into the community groups, and then I get booted out because they say it's advertising. I'm like, it's not
Yes.
advertising. It doesn't cost anything.
It's free.
So yeah, it's all the challenges. But if you just stick with it, I really believe in my heart that it is going to grow and that it can
Mm.
be a really great thing for our community.
Yeah, yeah. It's so cool. I love it. I really need to get in there more when we're on holidays in particular. There's not a lot around here, but I think
Yeah,
that's a good point. Because I'm in the community groups, I should actually encourage
yeah,
it. And maybe that's something we can ask everyone to do that's
definitely.
listening. Like if you're
Yeah,
out in the community and it's something that you'd like to see more of, to share it and promote it in your community groups, because the bigger it is, the better it is for everyone, to
yeah.
be
I
able
think
to access.
it's very different when it comes from someone else just sort of saying, oh, I found this and it's really useful, as opposed to me going, hey, we made this and you might find this useful. Yeah, it's a bit of a different vibe. So definitely that's something people could do to help
Yeah.
if they want to help. And I even have people that have contacted me asking me for like stickers and promotional stuff. So I've just
Oh,
recently got a
yeah.
heap of that printed as well. So if anyone is out, using public transport a lot or out in the community a lot and they want to stick up some stickers, let me know. Send me a message.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
cool.
I'd be happy to send some out. Yeah.
Yeah. And so to register for it as either someone who just wants to use it, but in
Yeah.
particular, if you do have a stall or something that you want to give, how do you create an account? You just kind of plug in your
It's all the
details?
same. Yeah, it's the same
Yeah.
for anyone because I want people to be able to like sell on it and be able to find stuff on it just as easily. I don't really want to differentiate the two.
Yeah.
So it's all the same. It's you just log on, I think it's your email address. A lot of the fields are optional. A lot of people are funny about privacy and don't want to give out too much
Mm-hmm.
information. I
Mm-hmm.
think majority of the fields are optional. It's the email address and just a name, and you can make any name, whatever name you want to use.
Yeah.
Are the two main things, and
Mm-hmm.
that's it. You create your account and you're in.
So cool. Well, thank you so much for chatting to us about the app and about your journey. I think a lot of people can relate that, like you said, food's quite expensive,
Yeah.
and just, yeah, wanting to also connect with people in their community that are either like-minded or that they can
Mm,
connect with these things. So it's so cool what you're doing, and I
thank
can't
you.
wait to see it grow and get bigger and better as time goes on.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate your support and having us on. It means so much just to be able to get the word out and tell more people, and especially,
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
got such a great following that is exactly the kind of people that we would love to see on the app. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, my absolute pleasure. And hopefully we can talk to you soon with some more updates and
Update.
maybe some workshops in the future too.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Awesome.
Maybe I
Thank
can
you
learn a
so
thing or
much.
two.
I know, that's why I'm like, maybe we can try and get this happening for you, because I selfishly would love some of that.
Yeah, right,
I know.
exactly. Yeah, if anyone
Amazing.
listening has the skills, just get in touch.
Yes, for sure. All right. Thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thanks, Elise. We'll see you later.
Bye.